I think enough time has passed now for everyone to come back to reality, to get those hormones in check. Sure, we've lost 4 on the bounce. We lost to the enemy, Man United, but we have a Champions League Frankfurt match coming up very, very shortly. Now, Twitter and Reddit, all the memes are out and about how Chiesa didn't travel to Spain. Of course, he didn't travel to Spain. Frankfurt is in Germany, you numpties. Yes, rage baiting, clickbaiting, all that malarkey. But going back to reality, this is a channel with tactical substance in abundance. How can Arne Slot get Liverpool back on track? But more importantly, how can we get our new signings integrated and thriving in this Liverpool team for the here and now? Get Isak scoring, get Isak and Wirtz connecting, get Ekitike absolutely blasting it like he was at the start of the season, getting Frimpong rampaging down the right, getting Kirkes rampaging down the left. How can we get Gakpo back on the fan side? How can we get Salah dominating, pulling the strings and being the metric goal king that he always was and always will be? Now, I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions on what Arne Slot needs to do. Let's go with 5 different points, 5 key changes that he could particularly make. And the first one comes from within. Now, people want to say, how can we get Isak, Wirtz, Ekitike, Salah, Gakpo, Chiesa, all in the same team, all on the pitch, all contributing? How can we get McAllister back to form, Szoboszlai in a fixed position? Or even more basic and more important than that, let's take the names away from the equation. Liverpool have been way too easy to get at, right? And it comes from many different reasons. As Jurgen Klopp and many teams, Arrigo Sacchi, for example, at the great AC Milan teams, defending starts from the front. Emil Heskey, Dirk Kuyt, Darwin Núñez, Lucho Diaz. Now you're starting to realize the importance of players, even when they're away from the camera. You notice I said last season and the season before that when Darwin Núñez starts, we more or less usually win the game. That's a big statement, right? Even when he misses chances, missing open goals, missing 1v1s. Off the ball movement and what you don't see when the camera is not zoomed in where the ball is and on a particular moment, it's the composite parts of the whole team that make a system work. Jurgen Klopp's great teams were facilitated by the engine room in midfield. Fabinho, Henderson, Milner, Ox, Lallana, doing the dirty work in the middle. The reason why he didn't play Xherdan Shaqiri as much as most people, including myself, would have liked is because Xherdan Shaqiri can't plug the gaps, can't zonally, positionally keep his discipline. Why did Rafa Benitez move Gerrard away from central midfield onto the right wing for that season? Because in terms of discipline, he was Captain Fantastic, all over the shop, generational, destroying, scoring, assisting from everywhere. But in terms of tactical discipline, holding the fort, holding position to let your team give you a platform and foundation for success, he moved in various different areas, which is why Gerrard as a central midfielder, as good as he is sometimes a liability tactically. So advanced midfielder, attacking midfielder, right wing on occasion, needs must. Mascherano, Alonso behind him holding the fort. And similarly, Liverpool needs to go back to basics with Arne Slot. He needs to devise a system where the players know positionally where they need to be to make it difficult for the opposition to even get near our defence. Virgil van Dijk for all his greatness, Ibu Konate for all his physical attributes, Milos Kerkez's absolute abundance of attributes similar to Robertson, Frimpong and Connor Bradley. When they are under the cosh, when opposition are sitting in front of you, when there's runners directly running at you, then something is wrong with the system. And it starts with the midfield holding position. Now, we don't have a dedicated destroyer in the first team lineup, and we never will do under Arne Slot until something dramatically changes, because Arne Slot loves Gravenberch. He loves the concept of a registrar, a mobile 6 who can invite the press, moving the ball laterally as well, and passing and moving the ball through the lines into the central third before you go out wide. Now, there's issues with that, but there are solutions to that as well. Remember, Gravenberch was an absolute baller last season, and he's one of the big reasons why we won the Premier League. But we don't have a controller like Zubimendi deep, because McAllister actually plays in between the 6, the 8, and the 10. He roams in between all of those, which is why you need that holding player. For Argentina, Enzo Fernandez holds that role, similar to he does for Chelsea, but Caicedo allows Enzo Fernandez to go further forward. Rodrigo de Paul also is able to play between the lines, and between them, they facilitate that position. Arne Slot has Szoboszlai, Curtis Jones, Endo, and McAllister, Gravenberch, all able to form the fulcrum of the defensive shield. But however, when you're playing for transition, when you're looking to break the line centrally, it means you have to commit players further forward to provide that option diagonally for the ball from Gravenberch to go forward, which is why you see an empty space. That famous image now of Van Dijk saying, you know, where are we going? Where's the midfield? Pointing, and everyone is out of position. There's nothing in the middle third. We can have a player in the middle third, but even above and beyond that, we need to make sure we're secure. We're solidly secure. It starts from the front. Isak, Ekitike, Salah, and I'm looking particularly at Salah and Ekitike and Isak in this example, need to understand the pressing patterns of play. That was why Diogo Jota was a fan favourite, a Jurgen Klopp favourite, an Arne Slot favourite. The pressing patterns of play, he was a pressing monster, relentless. Darwin Núñez was relentless. And you see Núñez doing defensive shift, tackling in our own third, right? A striker tackling in our own third. How often have you seen Isak or Ekitike tackle in our own third, or Mo Salah tackle in our own third? It can be effective, because when Mo Salah tackled Kylian Mbappe in our own third, we sprung, we broke with pace and meanness and clarity, and the spaces opened up. We need to get back to that form where everyone contributes a defensive shift. Why was Firmino so great? Because he put in a massive defensive shift. We have players like Ian Rush back in the day. Why was Ian Rush so great? It wasn't just the finishing. It wasn't just the off-the-ball movement. He pressed, he harried, he harassed, he had the energy levels to do the job time and time again. So when you want Liverpool to come back to successful era and dominate the games and be in full control while creating opportunities, it all comes through hard work. And when you look at the pitch and the play at the moment from the current boys, it's not through lack of wanting or trying. They are confused. They don't seem to cohesively press as a unit, which means the energy is expended and wasted on a single or double press. And then opposition are behind our lines, and we look under the cosh and we get sucker punched and counter-attacked. And this is also paramount to the reason why we're losing so many second balls. All the teams now know, because Arne Slot actually says it in the press conferences, teams play long balls in and behind our lines, in and behind our fullbacks, fight for the second ball with a flick on into the space. They even hit the ball to Virgil van Dijk, knowing that his headed clearance will drop into a space where they've got 3 or 4 players waiting and prepping to fight and hassle for the second ball. Body our players, physically duel them and play from there. The whole strategy is in and around making our press ineffectual. But a press does not necessarily mean running around like a headless chicken, all intensity, bang, bang, thank you, ma'am, right into their face. A press means wherever you anticipate the ball is going to drop and the action zones of the areas, you make sure that you get there first. You make the fast accelerated runs into the space, into those action zones before the ball even gets there. That is why Szoboszlai has been so important this season, because even if we can't preempt where the ball will go, Szoboszlai has the wherewithal and the physical capability and acceleration to push his body where it hurts, to accelerate into those positions, to give us an extra outlet or to get back in the zone, blocking a defensive channel, which is why as a pseudo right back, he actually works, but he shouldn't be a pseudo right back. We've got 2 right backs in the squad in Frimpong and Conor Bradley. So it's about Arne Slot getting on the training ground, as he intimated, and training it muscle memory into the boys where positionally they need to be and need to play and need to accelerate from. And that will solve a lot of our problems. Now, we look up front. Let's now look at the personnel. Okay. If you want Isak to thrive, he needs service. He's going to get more service from Jeremy Frimpong than he is Mohamed Salah. As crazy as that sounds, because Mohamed Salah is an assist king last season as well. But that's when the ball is funneled through Mohamed Salah and we get him into positions where he can dominate. At the moment, we've got too many world-class players and too many talents and too many name players who aren't pressing and putting enough energy to get the space. You don't earn the right to play, and therefore we are suffering. We need to earn the right to play by putting in the effort and the energy. And as you saw with Frimpong's natural attributes in terms of pace, he has crossing ability. He actually has phenomenally surprising for many of a Liverpool fan who didn't see him at Leverkusen, crossing ability. Him and Grimaldo from left and Frimpong from the right-hand side were crossing a plenty for Schick and the like at Leverkusen, right? For Boniface, for example. And we need to be flashing that ball across for Isak to attack, flashing that ball into his feet, into the penalty area, giving him the ball early to let him do his trickery with his languid, lanky style, because Isak is not like an Ekitike who dribbles, skills, cuts inside with that burst of acceleration. He's a technical, skillful forward who connects the play, but he's very technical with the ball at his feet, as you saw with his assist to Cody Gakpo, that flicked ball to Cody Gakpo to hit to the roof from a few yards out. Isak deserves the opportunity to prove his worth when the system is designed for him. Now, if you want to play Gakpo, if Arne Slot wants to play Gakpo in the system, Gakpo can cut inside and cross it to the back post. Great. So why don't you play Isak from the right then? Because if you look at his heat map last season, Isak played more on the right than he did on the left. Obviously, he played more up front. But in terms of bias towards the side, surprisingly, Isak biased the right-hand side, even though we've seen his highlight reels on the left-hand side. So you could have a world where Isak is a pseudo right winger, Ekitike is the front man, dropping into the pocket, and Gakpo cutting inside has two options now. You either take the long shot, his cut inside, and Gakpo long shot to the back post, in which case Isak should be diving into the back post, either try and slide it in, or if Gakpo whips it into the back post, it's Isak and not Salah attacking the ball, and Isak is a headed threat. Or if Gakpo hits it centrally towards the goal and it spills, you should have Ekitike running in to finish or bundle at home. Or if he smacks it towards Ekitike, any outstretched leg can deflect it anywhere, anyway. So, if Gakpo is a starter, with that Gakpo the long shot, then Isak dropping into the 10 position, the shadow striker position, allows Gakpo that inside forward left space to run into the penalty box area if he needs to be a striker, because he has great poaching instincts. Where is the Cody Gakpo where the ball drops on the back post towards the left-hand side that bundles it in? Where is that? That's on Arne Slot. Arne Slot needs to work out how to get that position again. And if Gakpo is beating the man on the outside on the left, he hasn't got a drilled left-footed cross, but he has a dinked one to the back post. So why don't we put Isak and Ekitike on to take advantage of that? It shouldn't be Salah. If Gakpo plays on the left, then I would love to see Ekitike and Isak form the front two with Isak with a bias towards the right-hand side. Wirtz behind him supplements him by being a late runner into the box, getting Gakpo into inside forward left position, and if Ekitike drops into that 10 position, shadow striker position, that's where Wirtz can give and go and overlap Gakpo to run into the box, because Wirtz has the best composure in the whole squad in the penalty box area. So I'd love to see that play as well, and an added bonus of giving Isak on the angled run two feeders in Wirtz and Ekitike to play in Gakpo and play in Isak from the widths. Now, how do you supplement that as well? If Isak is on the right-hand side, then that means you can get the ball in the box from the left-hand side, that's Gakpo. If Isak is in the middle, then playing him through in the central areas relies on a Wirtz and a McAllister. McAllister from deeper position, maybe pseudo 8, Mazzala on the 8, and Wirtz in the 10, advanced playmaking role. However, that means you should also play your best crossers, and Frimpong is probably a better crosser than Conor Bradley. Conor Bradley cuts inside, works his way into the penalty box area. So you imagine that Conor Bradley works better with Ekitike, because Ekitike dropping into the pocket can hold up the ball until Conor Bradley makes his way into the Mo Salah inside forward position and can be given the ball to drive into the penalty area and make things from there. So if Isak plays, the logical solution is Frimpong on the right-hand side to cross the ball, and who's the best crosser on the left-hand side? As it is at the moment, I would say Andy Robertson's the best crosser on the left-hand side because he's got those record assists from the left-hand side crossing, which means why don't you supplement that by holding the midfield with two natural holders? If Isak plays, I would love a combination of Gravenberch and Endo. Gravenberch and Endo holding the midfield from a deep position means that you give Wirtz the freedom to play make and create behind Isak. You give Frimpong the freedom to run at amok down the right across to Isak. You give Robertson the freedom to bomb up and down and cross for Isak as well. This is about designing a system to take advantage of the strengths of your players. Now, if you're playing with Ekitike, a link man, Ekitike has shown his ability to link to Florian Wirtz very naturally indeed. So if you have Ekitike up front, Wirtz behind him is another natural attribute. But hang on here. We have other players capable of playing in the 10. McAllister and Sobosai actually have a phenomenal long shot from distance, right? So if you play Ekitike up front, you now have the option, not just Wirtz behind him connecting the 1-2s for intricate plays to play centrally and beat the central defenders, but you also have the opportunity even, like Chelsea did with Drogba and Lampard, to play a long shooter. Ekitike can be the willing runner, the dummy runner, the hold-up player, to hold up the gap for the long shooter, Sobosai and McAllister, to do the damage behind him as a second striker. How many has McAllister and Sobosai scored when the system is designed to get them the ball in the prominent areas to allow them to shoot? Ekitike, physicality, holding the ball up, making those runs, dropping deep, allow Sobosai to overrun him, which on occasion has been a very effective ploy because Sobosai is a very willing overlapping runner if given the opportunity and not treated as a mule or donkey in the midfield, just doing the off the ball closing and running as well. He can be a game winner, but Arne Slot needs to be brave enough to dictate that. And Ekitike facilitates that, as does Mohamed Salah, because Mohamed Salah always draws attention of two fullbacks, the central defender of a left-sided free. So when you have Ekitike and Salah doing the damage in between the lines, drawing the attention, they should not be the prominent goal scorers. They should be the facilitators for the shooters who arrive late and will score the goals from range or running from deep, which is a Gravenberch, a Sobasai, or McAllister, or Florian Wirtz. So if you design a system for your midfielders to chip in with your goals, 5 to 10 goals each, that's another game-winning solution. Ekitike facilitates that. But Ekitike is not only a link player, he's proven to be a good finisher as well, especially coming in from the left. Now, if you have Ekitike on the left, right, and Isak up front, that's your deadly duo again right there. Ekitike likes to cut inside, but can work his way on the outside as well. We know Florian Wirtz links with Ekitike. And on the right-hand side, Chiesa makes the most sense, because who's the one that's going to be silkily holding the ball and independently playing his way to 1-2 of the forward, or get into goal-scoring positions, or poach from the edge of the area, or feed an all-rounded player who can do a bit of everything with trickery and is on form. You could say that was Salah in the past, but Salah doesn't have the two-footedness of Chiesa. He doesn't have the ability to go around the outside like Chiesa. He doesn't have the shot power of a Chiesa. Now, Chiesa has never been near a peak Mohamed Salah in terms of ability. But Chiesa, on top form, is a European Cup winning international Italian maestro and a talisman. He's uber talented, super skillful, and has attributes that Salah doesn't in terms of ability to shoot off both feet, a straight arrow shot, not just a curler, not a bender, the ability to work a yard of space and shoot as well. He doesn't always need to cut inside. He's proven his composure to assist, and he's not after the goals. He's not gunning for records. He's literally wanting the team win. You can see that enthusiasm, that live bird on the chest, that passion. He doesn't mind assisting. He's very, very keen on Liverpool winning. Now, for all Salah's greatness, I understand it as well, because I chased the goal king mantra when I was playing field hockey. Salah, in his final few seasons, in the back of his mind, wants to break records. Now, people might throw the accusation, wait a minute, hang on, Sai. Salah's been top assister for many a season. And yes, he has, because he's had all the options and all the balls in those forward positions. So on any given time, if he decides, or his body decides to release the ball and give the ball, as he should have done to Wirtz or Isak, when he fluffed it at the back post, then great, because he has many opportunities to do that. But you might have to say 8 to 2 out of 10, he will shoot. He'll take the goal scoring opportunity, even if it's not the right choice, because historically he's put it away, but he's not putting away at the moment. So Chiesa is a facilitator for Ekitike to get in the box, because Chiesa on the outside and in around his penalty box area is street smart and super effective at the moment. And in that case, where you're looking for this link-up play, Connor Bradley and Chiesa, for me, is an underrated duo in terms of tactical acumen, because Connor Bradley cutting inside into inside forward and giving and going with Chiesa, who holds the ball and flicks the ball on and gets into the right positions to facilitate off-the-ball runners, is tasty. I would love to see Ekitike left, Isak up top, Chiesa on the right, Connor Bradley right back, and Kirkes similarly, because he can go inside of Ekitike and outside. And Ekitike has the full control of the ball. Unlike Gakpo, who doesn't always have full control of the ball, even when the ball's at his feet, Ekitike will pick Kirkes out when it's the right decision, or go himself, and he can beat the man like Gakpo on the inside and bend it. His shot has been unreliable so far, but between the goalposts, Ekitike's shot is actually fairly decent. So where does that leave the rest of the squad? Endo Gravenberch holding for Isak makes sense to me, with Wirtz behind him. That way you can play Gakpo, Cody Gakpo, on the left. If Ekitike is at the top, right, or Isak's at the top, if you want Salah to play, then Frimpong is the natural right back to overlap him, but then you're going to have a heavy bias for defending the right-hand side like we did for Trent Alexander-Arnold, right? Which is a fair tactic when the game calls for it. But you've got to make sure that you focus a pinnacle point. Who is the player that we're going to build that match around to win the game? You can't say, for Isak's greatness, for Salah's greatness, for Wirtz's greatness, chuck them on the pitch and good things will happen, one of them will turn up. No, you design a tactic to take advantage of a clear game-winning scenario, a game-winning plan. When you have Isak and you flash the crosses, you play the through balls, you get him chance and chance and chance again. You don't create 3 or 4 chances in a match and expect him to bury one. You create 10 chances and hope he can put away 3 of them, right? That is what you need to do. We should have done that for Darwin Núñez as well. Now, the history books will say that we made the right decision by basing the tactics around Salah, around Trent Alexander-Arnold. But you got to understand the rest of the team sacrificed themselves because for all their greatness and their name reputation, Henderson, Milner, Van Dijk, Robertson, even Sadio Mane, even Luis Diaz, even Darwin Núñez, Diogo Jota, all played their role to help Trent Alexander-Arnold and Mo Salah be the best that they could be. Now, in this current team, it doesn't matter whether you're Isak, whether you're Wirtz, whether you're Salah, whether you're Van Dijk, Szoboszlai, McAllister, Gravenberch, whoever. Doesn't matter what you signed for, how much you signed for, what your reputation is. You've got to decide, Isak is the one that I'm going to build a team around, and therefore every single road leads to Isak getting a goal-scoring opportunity. Every off-the-ball run, every tactical placement, every choice, the decision of the players, where they press, who they pass to, how they open their body to take control of the ball, all roads have to lead into the paths for Isak to get into the right position, to be slid in, to be flashed across, to give him a chance to run across the defender, to edge to the back post, to turn with his back to goal, to take a shot. Any variety of play to get Isak in amongst the goals. If Ekitike is the one, and he's probably not the one because it looks like Isak is the favoured choice of Arne Slot, then you've got to make sure, how can we get Ekitike and Wirtz into the pocket, into the ball, in space, in front of the opposition six, behind the opposition six, into the pockets where the runs dictate what they can do from there, whether they take the shot themselves or whether they play someone in. You just need clarity. The players just need clarity in thought in what you're trying to achieve in a match to win the game-winning scenarios, where to press, how to press, where to hold, where the transition should be, fighting the second balls, on the second balls, where the logical passing is. Even in the Chelsea Enzo Maresca team, in the Arteta team, in the Guardiola team, as soon as Zubimendi or Rodri, and they might be game intelligent players with technicality in midfield, when they get the ball and they're pressed, they know straight away where the outlet is. And I don't think Liverpool have at the moment. When Gravenberch is pressed, the outlet is not clear. When Van Dijk is pressed, the outlet is not clear. You're trying too hard to force it through the middle. When Gakpo gets the ball on the left, it's so predictable what's going on there, right? So the opposition can set up for it. When Mo Salah gets the ball outside the penalty area, you know it's not going in the penalty area if he has to stand a man up. If Isak gets the ball, where's the support for Isak? Where's the options? When Florian Wirtz gets the ball, where are the runners knowing that Florian Wirtz, a generational genius who will definitely come good, where is the anticipation that you know that he's going to get it under and be able to play a ball before anyone else is set? The runs are not there. I don't see the energy. I don't see our players gassed out and burned out at the end of the match. Now, this might be a ploy to save the legs for later in the season where we hopefully go on a late season blitz and run on form to dominate the opposition. But you can't count on that. You need to rack the points up now. It's no good being on a double-edged sword every match, winning by luck or by hook or by crook or mentality monster mantra at the end of the match. Win the game from the start, because with Liverpool's quality in the squad, all you need is clarity of tactics, and the players fully buying into what they need to do to win the scenario and game-winning person in that match. And if it's Isak, fine, build it around Isak. If it's Wirtz, build it around Wirtz. If it's Salah, build it around Salah. But long-term, it should not be built around Salah because he's not the future. He's here to help us transition into the new generation with his God-given talent. Similarly, with Van Dijk at the back, playing every match and dictating, we know his ability, but he is getting older. You must protect him. It doesn't matter whether you're Van Dijk, John Terry, Maldini, Nesta, Baresi, whoever. You must protect the back and limit the opposition's chances. And Liverpool, in the last few weeks, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 games, have not limited the opposition's chances at our goal. Alisson Becker has been man of the match way too many times. And we don't have Alisson Becker to call on currently because he's injured. We have to go back to basics, protect the goal, build from a solid base, have clear identity of personnel working together, but the personnel are dictated by what you're trying to do in a match, and it all comes from Arne Slot's vision on the training ground and in the tactical room as well. And he's got to make the hard decisions, forget name value, unless contractually, I don't know about contracts in terms of minimum amount of games played, minimum minutes you have to play or whatever. Hopefully Salah doesn't have something like that in his contract, because that would be awful, imposing that on a coach like Slot. You have to choose the right attributes to facilitate the game plan. That's with or without Salah. That's with or without Chiesa. That's with or without Wirtz. But I'm not seeing it at the moment. I'm not seeing that clarity of thought and what exactly we're trying to do. And that's what we need to come back to against Frankfurt this evening. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please smash a like, subscribe. Will do me a massive favor if you haven't already. I want to hit 15k subscribers by the end of the year. Come on, we can do it, Reds. One big Liverpool fan in Japan family, Liverpool fans worldwide. Support your boy, the Miyazaki man, Sai. I believe in Liverpool. I support Liverpool. We can still have a great season. One game does not make a season, and bad form is only form. Class is permanent. The cream always rises to the top. And look, Slot is a Premier League winning manager. Let's back the man, back Arne Slot, back your fellow supporters. Don't criticize the players too much. Definitely don't criticize them on their own social media accounts. All you're doing is disheartening them, demotivating them, making them angry. They need to be angry in the right sense and not by, you know, your armchair fan blasting them or being toxic to them. Support them. Anfield, stand up, be noticed, be counted, raise the roof again. We will be back. The quality is there. We're still in 4th position at the moment. All hope is not lost. Needs clarity, needs thought, needs hard work, needs effort, needs blood, sweat and tears. Utilize the players you bought for their qualities. And let's get back on track. Hopefully the style of football becomes attractive again and we start winning matches starting tonight against Frankfurt. Thank you so much for watching the video. I appreciate you guys. Smash a like. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below of the game-winning combinations and the players to facilitate the plan. Mizaki man, Ichiban means the best. Jane means ciao.